Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, The Scenic Traveler. I'm Erin, and if you're new here, I'm someone who believes that the best stories are found in the places we least expect to find them. The channel is all about discovering those hidden corners of the world that completely change your perspective. The destinations that don't just show up on your Instagram feed, but somehow find their way into your soul. And last summer, my mom and I embarked on a European road trip, and honestly, I thought we had it all figured out. We had our itinerary, our must-see cities, our carefully planned route. Sometimes those plans change. Sometimes a country you barely knew existed becomes a highlight of your entire journey. That country was Slovenia. And over the next 20 minutes, I'm going to show you exactly why this little gem nestled in the heart of Europe completely stole my mom and I's heart, and why it might just steal yours too. Slovenia is this incredible country tucked between Italy, Austria, Hungary, and Croatia. It's like Europe's best-kept secret hiding in plain sight. With just over 2 million people, it's smaller than most US states, but what it lacks in size, it makes up for in absolutely breathtaking diversity. We're talking alpine peaks, emerald rivers, medieval castles, and some of the most pristine nature you'll find in Europe. It only gained independence in 1991, making it one of Europe's youngest countries, but its story stretches back centuries. And this is how our Slovenian adventure actually began. With dramatic mountain vistas or crystal clear lakes, but with us just getting absolutely soaked trying to find lunch in this small town. My mom's navigating with a soggy map, I'm filming through raindrops on the windshield, and we're both laughing because this is so not how we pictured our grand entrance into Slovenia. But you know what? Sometimes the best adventures start with the most ordinary moments. So we've officially left the Dolomites in Italy and have made it to Slovenia. It is a bit of a rainy day, so we're just trying to figure out what to do in that rainy day. Maybe see some things from the car, or hope that the rain is not as bad as it has been. So we'll see, but we're excited to be in Slovenia. Soča River, we're soaked. And then we saw it, the Soča River. I need you to understand something. No filter, no color correction, no editing magic can capture what this water actually looks like in person. It's this impossible shade of turquoise that seems almost artificial, like someone dropped liquid gemstones into a mountain valley. The Soča flows for 138 kilometers from the Julian Alps to the Adriatic Sea, and it's considered one of the most beautiful rivers in Europe. And honestly, after seeing it, I can get why. This river has stories carved into every bend. During World War I, this entire valley was the front line of the Isonzo battles, and you can still visit museums and memorials that tell this story. But today, the Soča is all about life and adventure. You can whitewater raft through rapids, kayak through calmer sections, or try your hand at fly fishing. The river is famous for its marble trout. Something almost magical about standing next to water this pure, this untouched. Every time we stopped, I found myself just staring, trying to memorize the exact shade of blue-green that I've never seen anywhere else. And now we've hit the point that the rain has stopped and we're able to see the mountains in the background, see the Julian Alps. We found this perfect spot near Srpenica where the river curves, and we just stopped. Sometimes when you're traveling, you feel this pressure to constantly move, to check things off your list, but Slovenia taught me something very different. It taught me the value of just being very present in a moment. We watched rafters navigate the rapids, their laughter echoing off the canyon walls. There's also a group of fly fishers completely absorbed in their craft, casting lines with the precision of an artist painting with water. And it hit me, Slovenia isn't just a destination you visit. It's a country you experience with your whole body. This place is an outdoor enthusiast absolute paradise. Beyond the water sports, you've got hiking trails that range from gentle riverside walks to the challenging Alpine ascents. The Julian Alps offer some of the best climbing in Europe. There's also paragliding, mountain biking, caving. Slovenia has over 11,000 registered caves, including the famous Škocjan caves, which are a UNESCO World Heritage Site. But here's what makes Slovenia even more special. It's not just about the adrenaline rush, it's how they've managed to preserve these wild spaces while still making them accessible. The entire country is committed to sustainable tourism. We're the first country in the world to be declared a green destination by the Global Green Destinations Organization. So sitting by this river, watching Mom dip her toes in the impossibly cold water, I realized we'd stumbled into something rare. A country that still remembers how to balance progress with preservation, adventure, with respect for nature. The drive up Vršič Pass is not for the faint of heart, but it is absolutely a must when visiting Slovenia. This is the highest mountain pass in the country at 1,600 meters and connects the Trenta Valley with the Kranjska Gora region through 50 hairpin turns that will test both your driving skills and your stomach. And here's what you need to know if you're planning to drive this. Take your time, pull over at the designated spots to let faster traffic pass, and don't attempt this in bad weather unless you're experienced with mountain driving. The road is typically open from May to October, but always check conditions before you go. Here's why every single hairpin turn is worth it. The views are absolutely otherworldly. You're just driving through landscapes that look like they were painted by someone who thought reality wasn't dramatic enough. We're talking about jagged peaks, deep valleys, and vistas that stretch all the way to the Italian Alps on a clear day. There are several stops along the way, including the Russian Chapel, a small wooden chapel built to honor Russian prisoners of war who died building this road during World War I. By the time we reached our hotel near Lake Bled, we were completely drained. The good kind of exhausted that comes from having your senses completely overwhelmed by beauty. We didn't even explore that first night. We just sat by the hotel pool, watched the sunset behind the mountains, and let Slovenia slowly seep into our bones. So it's the next morning in Slovenia. We stayed at a hotel overlooking Lake Bled. This morning it is pretty rainy. Can't really see much, so we're actually gonna head to Ljubljana. Today we were gonna do it tomorrow, but it's not gonna be raining as much there, so we're hoping to get a little bit of dry time in Ljubljana and then come back to Lake Bled where we're spending another night. The next morning, we were headed to Ljubljana, Slovenia's capital and absolute heart of the country. With over 280,000 people, it's one of Europe's smallest capitals, but what it lacks in size, it makes up for in charm that's impossible to fake. Walking through Old Town feels like stepping into a fairy tale that someone actually decided to live in. The architecture is just this beautiful blend of Baroque, Art Nouveau, and modern influences. Ljubljana River curves right through the heart of the city and is lined with cafes where locals and tourists blend seamlessly. The famous Triple Bridge is a masterpiece. What started as a single bridge became 3 connected bridges that create this incredible pedestrian space into the city center. Ljubljana's Old Town is completely car-free, which means you can actually hear the city breathe. Street musicians play on corners, artists sell their work at small galleries, and there's this energy that feels vibrant and completely relaxed. The central market is where Ljubljana's soul really lives. Local farmers sell everything from fresh produce to homemade honey, surrounded by covered colonnades that protect you from the weather. And speaking of weather, this is where our perfect Ljubljana day took a dramatic turn. We were browsing the market stalls and the sky just opened up. I'm talking about the kind of downpour that soaks you to the skin in about 30 seconds. We've made it to Ljubljana. It is downpouring rain, so we decided to come up to the castle. You can either walk up it or take the funicular. It was about, I think, €6 round trip, but if you also wanted to go to the castle, it was €16 per person. So that's what we're doing while the rain commences and hoping that it clears up in a little bit and we can finish exploring the downtown. Decided this was our time to go explore the Ljubljana Castle. Ljubljana Castle sits on a hill 370 meters above the city, and we figured if we're gonna get stuck in this rain, we might as well be doing something where we can have a great view. The castle itself dates back to the 11th century, though most of what you see today was built in the 15th and 16th centuries. It's not just a tourist attraction, it's a living cultural center with exhibitions, restaurants, and events happening throughout the year. But the real magic happens when you climb the castle tower. We timed it perfectly. Just as the rain was starting to clear, we made it to the top. And Ljubljana spread out below us like a living map. The red rooftops glisten with rainwater. The Ljubljana River winds through the city like a silver ribbon. And beyond the urban landscape, those incredible Alpine peaks remind you that you're in a country where nature is never more than a few kilometers away. And from up here, you can see Ljubljana's unique character, how it manages to feel both intimate and grand, both historic and completely modern. The castle grounds also house the Museum of Slovenian History, and there's something powerful about learning about this young nation's story while looking all out at its capital city. Standing in that tower, watching the storm clouds clear and the city come back to life below us, I understood something about Slovenia that I couldn't have grasped from ground level. This is a country that's learned how to honor its past while embracing its future. After the castle, we spent the rest of the afternoon wandering through neighborhoods we hadn't seen yet. Ljubljana feels small enough that you can walk across the entire city in about 20 minutes, but dense enough that you could spend days discovering new corners, new cafes, or museums. It felt like we had the perfect day in Ljubljana. Every street in Ljubljana seems to have its own personality, its own story, and its own reason to make you slow down and really pay attention. As the day wound down, we made our way back to the lakes region, but this time to a different hotel near Lake Bohinj. If Lake Bled is Slovenia's most famous lake, Bohinj is the most pristine. It's larger, wilder, and somehow even more breathtaking. We checked into our new hotel as the sun was setting, painting the surrounding peaks in a shade of pink and gold. We have woken up in the beautiful town of Bohinj in Slovenia. Today we are going to be checking out Lake Bohinj and Lake Bled because the last couple days have been rainy, so we haven't really been able to check it out, even though we stayed in Lake Bled yesterday. So we're very excited to check out these two beautiful towns and lakes in Slovenia. We are leaving our hotel that we stayed in Lake Bohinj, and I highly recommend it. I'll put the link in the description box below because we had the most beautiful time. It is a renovated hotel. The exterior behind me was built in the 1890s, and they redid it in the last couple of years. It's right on the river and has a really great breakfast, a really good vegan breakfast if you are vegan as well. So I highly recommend staying here if you're in Lake Bohinj or you're going to be staying near Lake Bled. The next morning started with the classic Slovenian experience, walking the full loop around Lake Bled. It's about 6 kilometers of mostly flat, well-maintained paths that take you completely around what might be Europe's most photogenic lake. But here's what the postcards don't tell you. Lake Bled isn't just beauty, it's alive with stories. The lake was formed by glacial activity and is fed by thermal springs that keep it warm enough for swimming even in the shoulder seasons. And that little island in the middle, Bled Island, is home to the Assumptions of Mary Church, where legend says, if you ring the bell, your wishes will come true. The walk takes you past the famous Bled Castle, perched on a 130-meter cliff above the lake. It's Slovenia's oldest castle, dating back over 1,000 years, and offers the most iconic views in the country. But what I love most about this walk was how it changes your relationship with the lake. You start thinking it's just a pretty place to take pictures, but by the time you've walked the entire perimeter, you understand its rhythms, its moods, its different personalities throughout the day. Early morning mist rising from the water, afternoon light dancing on the surface, and evening reflections that look like liquid gold. Lake Bohinj is everything Lake Bled is not, and that's exactly why it's perfect. It's larger, more wild, surrounded by even more dramatic peaks. Bohinj feels like what the Alps looked like before humans arrived. The water is so clear you can see straight to the bottom, and it's surrounded by the Triglav National Park, Slovenia's only national park. But we got incredibly lucky with our timing. We happened to be in Slovenia during the International Wildflower Festival. Lake Bohinj becomes the absolute center of this celebration. Local florists, artists, and gardeners create these incredible installations that blend seamlessly with the natural landscape. So picture this. They arrange wildflower displays that look like they grew naturally from the lakeshore, sculptural arrangements that frame the mountain views, and local artisans explaining the traditional uses of alpine flowers that have been passed down through generations. The festival isn't just about pretty flowers, it's about celebrating Slovenia's incredible biodiversity. The country has over 3,200 plant species, which is remarkable for such a small territory. And many of these plants are endemic to the region, meaning you literally can't see them anywhere else on Earth. What struck me most was how the festival connected people to place. Local families were picnicking next to installations, and kids were learning to identify wildflowers, and everyone seemed to understand they were celebrating something much deeper than is just a pretty display. They were celebrating their connection to this incredible landscape. Our final adventure was the valley station to Vogel Cable Car. And honestly, I'm so glad we didn't let the weather stop us. It was one of those gray, moody days where the clouds hang low and everything feels a little bit mysterious and dramatic. The cable car itself is an experience. You're ascending to 1,500 meters in about 15 minutes, watching the landscape transform from lakeside meadow to alpine terrain. And even on a cloudy day, you can feel the magnitude of the mountains around you. In the cable car at Vogel. And here's the thing about mountain weather. It's completely unpredictable and absolutely part of the experience. We started the ascent in what felt like a thick fog, and for a while I admit I was worried we'd spend all that time and money to see nothing but gray clouds. But the mountains have their own magic, especially on moody days. There's something almost mystical about being surrounded by clouds, about knowing there are incredible peaks and valleys around you even if you can't see them. And it makes you feel small in the best possible way. And then, just as we reached the top, the clouds started to part. Not completely. We weren't blessed with one of those perfect clear days you see in all of the promotional photos, but we got something even better: glimpses. The fog would lift for a few minutes, revealing a very dramatic peak or section of the valley far below. And then maybe close again, like the mountains were playing a little peekaboo with us. From the start of Vogel, even on a cloudy day, you can understand why Slovenia calls itself the sunny side of the Alps. When the visibility allows, you can see all the way to the Adriatic Sea in one direction and deep into Austria in the other. And the descent was almost more beautiful than the ascent. We dropped back down through the cloud layers. Lake Bohinj would appear and disappear like something from a dream. And by the time we reached the bottom, we were both quiet, both processing what we just experienced, which was an incredible way to see this region. Slovenia taught me that some of the best travel experiences can't be planned. They happened in the spaces between your itinerary, in the moments you can stop to capture everything and just let yourself be captured by a place instead. This little country with its impossible blue rivers, its fairy tale castles, and its people who understand that progress doesn't have to come at nature's expense. It reminded me why I fell in love with travel in the first place. Slovenia didn't just steal my heart last summer, it reminded me that my heart was always meant to be stolen by places like this. So if this video inspired you to add Slovenia to your travel list, let me know in the comments below. And if you want some more hidden gems like this, don't forget to subscribe. So until next time, thanks for watching and have the happiest travels.